Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reed of Future Pastimes, and I like to design custom expansions and variants for other games that I play and enjoy. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about stuff I've made for Nuclear War, which is one of my favorite games from way back. I started playing this in the 80s. It's kind of an unusual game. Everybody is a country with a stockpile of nuclear weapons, and you are trying to destroy the other players. So I don't know, maybe not for kids, although it is really simple. They have tried to go with kind of a whimsical elements to it with there, and I've got the expansions, nuclear escalation and nuclear proliferation, and again, there's a little bit of a silly element to it, but it is about destroying population, so there's no getting around that. I don't know how successful this game would be if it came out now, because it is player elimination, and take that. But I like that. I think it's an enjoyable game. It's very simple to play, but quite clever. And what I've done is some things to help jazz up the experience and kind of bling it up a little bit as well. So one of the things in the game is you're going to be, using different carrier system cards that you play in advance, and then also playing a megatonnage that has how much population it can wipe out. And then you have the option to spin a spinner to do additional damage and wipe out additional population, after which you can then roll the nuclear fallout die to do additional damage. But if you roll the 1, it's actually a mushroom cloud, which will cause a mishap. So one of the things I did was I was like, all right, this is pretty good. And there's a few options on there, but I thought there could be more. So I made my own spinner that has a lot more things that could happen. Some of them, again, they will do more damage. So you have things like warhead detonates one country counterclockwise from target country. So, like, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. But you can have lethal doses of radioactive gamma rays kill another 10 million. So 10 more million population. That's good. Additional 1 million are engulfed in the fireball. Like, yay, dirty bomb, double the yield. So yeah, like I said, it's a little bit grim. But again, once you embrace that, you can really enjoy the game. But then there's things like population that would have been killed survived by fleeing to your country. No roll of the dice allowed. So you actually gain population. So I liked playing around with that idea, making the spinner and coming up with extra things. A game with the spinner, I mean, that's pretty retro. And so I do like that in there. Along those lines, the population cards are these tiny little flimsy cards. Like, here's 5 million population. Oops, and that's there you go, a little drawing of the population. That's great. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a proper deck. So I've got a lot of this, and then I had fun with it. So you've got, all right, that's a 1 million population. Here's a 2 million. See, people might recognize Phil and Dixie from that. Here's a 5 million card. That's the gang from Homestar Runner. 10 million. That actually might be one of the actual official cards that's in there. Here's a 1 million. That's Family Guy. Here's a 25 million population card. That's great. Here's a 1 million Order of the Stick group of 5 million. Here's a 10 million. I'm not even sure why they're on there. Here's a 15 million. These are all people from The Simpsons. So the start of the game, you're drawing a number of these cards, and so who knows what your population is. You actually get to keep that secret. You have the same number of cards, but if you have a lot of 1 millions, you don't have a very high population, and a few strikes could be it. Whereas if you have a lot of 15s or 25, you can take a lot more, but the players don't necessarily know that. Back to the Fallout. So I've actually got 2 of these dice, and normally you're only using 1, but I was like, how can I make use of both of these? And so there was a thing where if you rolled the mushroom cloud, you're going to have a mishap. And they have a little chart here in the rules. You roll the die again, and it determines what happens with your mishap. 6 different options. One of them could be, disaster. You've somehow directed the warhead at one of your own cities. That is if you roll the mushroom cloud again. That happens. But if you roll really high, you could actually do double damage. If you roll a 4, it's a dud and there's no damage. So making use of 2 dice, I made a much bigger chart that you're rolling both of the dice. And so just depending on what it is you roll. So if you roll the double mushroom cloud, that's the real disaster. You've somehow directed the warhead at a nuclear power plant in one of your own cities, and you lose double the stated number of population and your next turn. So that is a disaster. But if you roll the 6-6, that's actually going to be, ay caramba, you hit a nuclear power plant. Previous damage is doubled, plus an additional 12 million are destroyed, and your opponent loses their next turn. So that is, and then, all kinds of stuff in between that can happen with that. The other thing that I've added to the game is in one of the expansions, they added special countries, so variable player powers, because normally the little sheets that you use, this is what they look like. When you're playing the game, you're going to be playing cards face down and committing to your actions a turn in advance. And then you've got spaces for deterrent forces and then special cards like the space platform or the killer satellite, which will have unique effects. But then they came up with these individual player things. So everyone had their own country with a unique ability. So Asgard, the power to recruit the fallen. Anytime you kill any population by warheads, secrets, top secrets, or special cards, you get 1 million of those people added to your own population. So it's a unique effect that you have. And so they have a whole bunch of these. Raydonia. I'll grab all of them here and I can show you a couple of them. So this is Banana Land. That's the name of one of them. This is Bermuda Triangle Land, Great Big Land, Little Bitty Land, etc., etc. So they had a bunch of these, and I laminated mine. I also made it so that the backs are not obvious, because in the originals, they were all different colors, but you could tell. It was hard to randomize what they were. So they have a bunch of them, and then I was like, you know what? It should be pretty easy to make these. So I made these in like 1992. So I'd made one country called the Iron Curtain, and I drew the little logo as well. So this country keeps a firm grip on its population. When another country tries to take your population through propaganda, you may play a propaganda card from your hand if it is an equal number of people to cancel it. So you got all these population cards, which are good in the beginning of the game. You're stealing population from the other players, but once the bombs start dropping, those cards are worthless. They don't do anything until you have eliminated a player, and then you can start using propaganda again. So I wanted to come up with ways to make those propaganda cards more worthwhile. I did one called Mongolia. This one, anytime you you launch a successful strike, destroying at least 10 million population, you may immediately have another turn. You can only have 2 consecutive turns in this manner. And keep in mind that I was coming up with this in the heady days of really getting into Cosmic Encounters. So this sort of thing was on my mind. I'm surprised that I only did 4 of these. I'll probably do some more because I'm going to start playing this game again. This is Melting Pot. And this country is made up of people from every other country. At the start of each turn, you may use the power of any other country in the game, even if it is eliminated. You may not use any 2 powers 2 consecutive times. And then you have the aliens. And the aliens are slowly taking over the planet. You start the game with half of your population in space out of the game. Every turn, you may beam down or up 1 population card. You're immune to propaganda, and any population loss effects only lose them on the planet. So just kind of a weird extra thing that it does. So that's what I've added so far to Nuclear War. Let me know if you've even heard of this game, if you've played it, if you have played it, if you enjoyed it. And on the odd chance that you've come up with stuff for Nuclear War, let me know. I'm definitely going to make some more cards. I'm going to play around with a lot of the game mechanisms and see if there's some fun ways to update it. Because I've got all of the expansions, they're all kind of a standalone as well. So there's a ton of these cards. I mean, this is a lot of cards. You probably won't even use this many cards in a game. And I have like 6 or 8 more of these. So it's a lot. And so I want to come up with some ways of maybe dividing them up into groups that have more propaganda, less propaganda. There's tons of the secrets and top secrets, and you don't want to have a situation where you're drawing your cards and I've just drawn 10 secrets, which can happen because there's so many of them now. So I'm going to play around with that. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.